Dustin Young here for Lone Roamer. Let's talk lights and night riding. In 2008, I began riding mountain bikes at night, and boy have the lights evolved since I first started riding. I'm going to get into talking about the amazing outbound lighting systems that I have, what amazing lights they are, and how much lights have evolved in the last 13 years of riding. In 2008, it was still widely practiced that we only ran one light. Had them on our bars, sort of could see the trail okay. Some people might have used the helmet light with no bar light, but for the most part, it seemed like single light riding was the way to go. And I would say sometime around 2010 or 11, information started to come out. We evolved to where we were moving to a two-light system, one on the bars, one on the helmet. Even though everything was still pretty much spot at the time, you sort of focused them in two different directions, and it helped with your depth perception, and things were a little better, but you were still sort of ripping in the dark. You couldn't see the edges of the trail, and light was, well, it was still not really helping us see undulations and the way the trail flows. You know, there's even lights that were pretty inexpensive from Amazon, pictured here, that really didn't work bad, but they weren't awesome, right? I mean, they were cheap and you could sort of burn through them, and they had batteries and all that good stuff, but not the best lighting situation, right? Mounts, you know, everybody had a proprietary mount. Even when jet lights first came out, they kind of had their own mount, but they early on understood the value of the Gopro mount. We'll get into that, how much that's really helped, you know, all the different lighting manufacturers out there. If you're paying attention, you see there's a new outbound lighting light behind me here. We're going to get into that another time. I did get my first ride in on it, and proprietary mount. All the stems having built-in GoPro mounts. I like to see a lot of the GoPro stuff, but some of the mounts are pretty awesome, so it might not be that big of a deal. But what we started to see with a two-light system for the first time is we could see better enough that we could start ripping through the dark just a little bit better. You know, if everybody here remembers back in the day, it would be a lot of Night Rider, several other brands. Night Rider is what I bought a lot of. And you got into all these crazy mount systems and helmet straps, and as everything kept going. And a lot of them, you had some rechargeable batteries. We were still looking at AA kind of thing. I mean, there was all kinds of stuff going on back then. Or big battery packs. Remember, water bottle battery packs. I don't have one anymore. I think my buddy actually still has one laying around. Your entire water bottle cage became a lead acid battery. I mean, there was nothing like whipping around an extra 10 pounds of battery, right? Good for us, kept us in shape, right? And so we had a lot of fun, but the light technology was still pretty lacking. They were trying to use halogen, a lot of spot beam stuff. And then around 2012, it's time for me to really get into lights, because what I find in 12 is one of the best races in Northern California. I just started racing pretty regularly, and the coolest 24-hour. Now, my first coolest 24-hour I actually ran as an 8-hour solo, but after that, I ran them as 24-hour solos. And man, let me tell you, that is fun. And in the beginning, I had bought a bunch of those Amazon lights because of the external batteries. In the first couple of races, it was as many batteries as I could own. They were pretty cheap. Hope none of them went on fire, because they're cheap. But we'd stack all this stuff on and maybe use some little helmet light, back then, or even strap a light in a backpack. But a lot of times, you had to have a backpack, if you're racing. And then somewhere in 2013 or 2014, I find jet lights. I believe 2013. And I got to tell you, game changer. What Jet did was used a simple to use rechargeable 3400 milliamp hour battery. Charger, DC charger, AC charger, it didn't care. You connected it, you charged, and we used to buy these things from Jet Lights or Tronic, you name it. I had piles of batteries. I could race 24 hours with 2 batteries and never think about recharging a battery the whole race. You could have, it was easy, it was fast. They really made racing at night fun. I mean, I think these little guys are 900 lumens, mostly a spot beam, so good light, you could see, you know, but huge difference. So we're getting into when, you know, I think these guys really changed a lot of lighting that way, and it worked really good. They're out of Reno, Nevada. Jet was, unfortunately, they didn't make it, which is really sad because I still own 3 of these. I use them as flashlights. I lend them to friends. They night ride with them. I still have all the chargers. You can still buy batteries. You know, nice little LED light, and they still work really good. And it's really sad that a company making lights locally and, you know, building such a high quality product didn't make it, but 24-hour races at the time were dying. It seemed like night riding wasn't as popular, so I could see why they struggled, but man, did they make a great product. And then I wanted to start having a more supported light, you know, something that was available, warranty parts, in case these broke. Guess I found out they don't really break, but in case they did, so I jumped on to the Garmin Varia, and these lights are pretty cool technology wise. They connect to a Garmin head unit. You know, as you go faster they get brighter, as you go slower they get dimmer. If you stop, they'll shut off one light, you know, helmet light, and leave the front bar light super dim. When you're climbing they go through. Really great, but the battery life is just really mediocre. They must be externally charged. I tried running them while externally powering them, and it's not that great. And for such a cool idea, the light wasn't a real good light. Spot beam, mediocre brightness. I'll lend this one out now too. I've got 2 of those. Still, the jet lights are better, and they're what I tend to lend out if I'm going to lend out lights. And so, you know, these are just examples of sort of how lighting has evolved through the process. And then 2018, we start riding. We've been riding now a lot at night, and now it's becoming like a regular Tuesday, Thursday thing. We are riding a lot at night. And I started going, you know, I have to find a better lighting system, something that if I want to race, can race. But lighting technology has evolved so much. Car headlights have evolved so much. Somebody must be evolving the mountain bike light. Sure enough, after a ton of research, I found Outbound Lighting. Outbound Lighting, this is their original downhill kit. If you can see it here, you've got a trail light and a road light. I marked mine. You know, you don't have to. If you look in, they'll tell you, you can see the reflector, and you can see what's going on. They came in a nice case, big external batteries. You know, not ideal. I didn't want to go back to big external batteries, but lasts a long time, and you could definitely buy more and race. Proprietary chargers. They came with 2 mounts. Either they came pre-built with a strap style mount, or you added on the GoPro piece. I made all mine GoPro right away. Again, I think that's just, you can, so much easier to find mounts, so much easier to transition through. And you know, this downhill package really came out. What we got here, and then when I ordered mine, they had just released the overhang. So I grabbed an overhang because, you know, no batteries. No batteries on a cable, all built in, USB-C recharging, GoPro mount, built in that way, easy to mount to your helmet, GoPro adapter, all that stuff was great. GoPro bar mount. See, so we get into how much easier it gets to be mounting these lights. And the cool thing is the lighting technology, well, that's big. You know, take a look here. This is me ripping down the trail. I'm currently turned on to the front trail light and using the Hangover. Great lighting technology. I am in medium mode right now because it's, you know, you don't always need the brightest light you got to going really fast downhill. The nice thing is you can reach up, hold the button down, turn the Hangover on and off. Going uphill, I always do that. Conserve that battery because it's not really connected to external batteries. Something we can talk about later. But you know, going down the trail, you can really see how this lighting package comes together. I've used the road light. I've used it on when I'm mountain biking. It definitely has a serious cutoff line. Here it is. You can see with the GoPro adapter. See where I mark RD for road. That's my thing. And the road light, it'd make a great road light, man. It cuts light off. It's incredible. The beam is super focused. Your bright areas is on the money. But for mountain biking, you go down into a gully and you got to come back up, and well, you go up into the dark You got your helmet light sort of helping out, but your headlight doesn't catch up for a minute till you start climbing again. That cutoff line is really sharp. The trail light, on the other hand, really wide, casts a better forward light for being out on the woods. So two different types, and you sort of get to see how all that works. Okay. Check out this, picture here, going through the gully, kind of seeing how the spot pattern works. Now, my only issue with these really is this is not awesome for a 24-hour race. The interface is, there's nothing to really gasket it up, hold it in place. It's on the bottom, but it's not going to be super secure. I'll have to figure all that out. And it still doesn't charge really well, so it won't run from an external battery source. So let's say you had a bunch of those external batteries. It just sort of charges and uses, and it'll run out. I don't know the exact amount of time. I was going to actually test this. I haven't got a chance to test it yet. But so you're back to this setup. So what they suggest in the original downhill setup is road on your helmet, trail on your bars. You get that real sharp cutoff line, so when you're looking around, you're not blasting everybody from your helmet. You got that nice trail light out in front of you. This is somewhere between road and trail, I think, is how I look at it. You get a little more out there, but it's not blasting people in the face. I'll get into the lighting technology here in a minute around that, but this is original downhill. This is the add-on downhill, and you can start to see the issue. I got a 24-hour race looking like coming up this year, so this is something I'm going to have to solve for. Do I run this, and then if I want to race without a backpack, I have this light and this extended cable? I guess you wear bibs and just keep shoving battery packs in the bibs and buy a bunch of battery packs. I'm going to work with them and see sort of what might work or what might not work. What I don't want to do is have to have 10 lights. I would rather, in a lot of ways, my guess is the battery that's in here, it's going to be something really similar to what's in here. And what would be really awesome in something like this is if you could just swap batteries in and out. I think that would make this just an absolutely incredible light, because you take a few batteries with you, you can throw them in your pocket, and you can just keep swapping them. You decide to go for a long ride, you don't have to worry about your lights. They're not going to become your limiting factor. So I think that anytime you do a rechargeable system like this, it's always nice being change lights. By the way, this thing is like 100-ish grams. It is stupid light. So that's another thing. This is probably 200 grams. This is probably close. That weight difference on your helmet is so nice. So that's another thing they've solved that's spectacular, is fixing that weight issue. Okay? So let's get into like build quality and talk about that. My original set of these, my trail light failed. It looked like a cabling issue. And then while I was waiting to get my trail light, I went for a ride with my road light. And remember, I bought these when they were first releasing them. And my road light, which I had taken out on a couple of rides, I finally took it out on a rain ride. It started raining pretty hard during the ride. And I got back and I'm looking at the light and there's water in it sloshing around as I'm putting the bike away. And I'm like, that's impressive because the light still worked. So in the light, I had a water line, a low water line. Now, here's what's awesome. You get lots of products and you're going to get some that don't work. It just happens. When you have lots of technology stuff, sometimes that stuff fails. Bike parts, wheels, hubs, it just happens. But when you call up, I reached out, I got a hold of Tom, everybody calls him Danger, and we got to talking about this stuff, and I sent him a video and an email. He calls me up, and he's like, hey dude, your lights are on the way. I'm gonna personally inspect them. When you get the lights, send these back. We're really sorry about that. Not send it to us, and here's your RA, and then we'll send it through this process, and then eventually you'll get a light back. Now, if they get large enough, we might get a little bit of that, but for now, they just sent me the lights. Now the Hangover, I never had a problem with, so we were good to go. That thing's always been rocking, but you know, it happens. And so they fixed it, they sent me lights. I couldn't ask for more because you just don't get that kind of service very often. And I think that's a big deal. Plus, at that point, I ended up getting to spend a lot of time talking to Danger. We talked about what they're up to and why and the lighting, and it's, you know, resonated with me really a lot, and I really appreciate how well he handled that and how awesome the service was. Both of them. I talked to Matt a long time ago before I bought the products, and he was fantastic as well. So, you know, they're just, these guys love lights. And, you know, if you go to their website, that's what it says. They're guys that this is what they do. They're light guys, they didn't cobble these together. They aren't using a bunch of foreign-made parts, right? This is an American-made light. Some globally sourced parts, I'm sure. It's hard not to with electronics, but this is an American-made light by a couple of people that when you talk to them, you know, this is what they love doing. And they're lighting engineers, and they've got amazing backgrounds in the car headlight space, and that's important right there. Why I bought them. These things work a lot like a car headlight. The beam, the way the reflectors work. You know, I tried some lights. I tried glowworms, and I tested other friends' lights, and I just watch how their lights work out on the trail, and there's several out there. Glowworm makes a great light, and you know, there's so many great lights out there, but there's one common theme. They love to jam as many lumens in it as they can, and you pay for it in light reflection back at you from the trees, loss of the ability to see undulations in the trail, the inability to have the light stay nice and wide and your eyes be nice and relaxed, and being able to just rail through the darkness as fast as you can go. And they took care of all that. They've got a mode that you set it up and it gradually dims because your lights adjust, or your eyes adjust to the light, I mean, and you don't need to constantly have the brightest light possible. If I were to buy a set of the glowworms, I would try to figure out how to filter the things and fix the beam and bring it down and make it a light. You know, when you're coming up against one of these lights, you'll be pedaling along and here comes some dude going the other way, and he's got, you know, 644,000 lumens according to the website or something, 2,000, 4,000, and you're just, the trail's gone and you're being blinded because he's got a spot beam and he's ripping through the night with a flashlight like a police officer, and you're like, there's other users on the trail. These guys actually thought about that, right? Instead of blinding everybody I go by, I have nice cutoff lines. I'm not jacking people up as I'm out there riding. Hikers, other light runners, because there's a bunch of those that you'll see out at night in California. I'm actually putting out a really nice light pattern, and I'm not just blasting as much light as I can into space. The other big advantage is I've actually PR'd some downhills with their lights on. The trail is so in focus and the light is so good, and I mean, we are ripping when we're going down. I'm PRing stuff that I go down real fast in the day, and when I'm a little bit faster, one, apparently I was having a good day, and two, damn, that's a good light. It means that I didn't get all of that loss of trail. I don't see all the light coming back at me. And I noticed I'm super relaxed and I just feel the trail, and you know, that right there should say everything you need to know. And make you realize this is a pretty incredible light system. Now I want to say, I'm not sponsored by these guys. I got no discounts to buy all these lights. I just bought them. I think they're awesome lights. I did my research. I think it's cool. Check it out. They came back then in cases, you know, really nice cases. They don't anymore. I'm going to make one for the new lights. This case came, so for the new lights, I'm going to get some foam and cut it up. But I mean, really nice cases, really thoughtful with the whole process. And again, these guys are building lights because they mountain bike, and they're building a mountain bike specific headlight and helmet light. So I'd encourage everybody to support them that can, because you're talking about, I don't want these guys to end up like jet lights, not because I bought them, but because they actually are innovating the mountain bike light space. you're not just getting the same old stuff that they might make 30 products and they're speccing it out. The thing gets built in China or Taiwan and you pop it on Amazon and it shows up on your doorstep. They're actually putting real R&D, taking it out in the field, riding the bikes, living with their own lights and making sure that everybody else has awesome lights too. And they really thought about how to innovate this product. You know, check out, just here I am out on the trail, we're cruising along, having a good time, and look at how clean the light is. You can see my buddy's lights reflective side by side with me here, and I'm just not getting that experience. You can see how much cleaner the whole thing is. You know, I'm gonna go back. Again, I had an amazing conversation with Danger. He really, you know, his name's Tom, he really was excited to talk to me about the lights, and we talked about, you know, demo lights and maybe for some of the stuff to ship some lights and, you know, have people help with the demos, and that's definitely one thing. Another thing we can do here is, you know, if you like this video, like it, share it, click like. The more it gets liked, the more it populates on YouTube, the more support an amazing American business gets, and you know that we can help them grow as part of the mountain bike community, because again, they're mountain bikers like us, not people just sitting in an engineering chair cranking out a product and kicking it out to you, but people trying to make it, really building a business and doing awesome stuff. And I think that's something we can all support. And if you're a YouTuber, make some videos. Check out if you're riding their lights. You know, don't get the product for free, or don't ask them for a free product just to make a video, right? Don't help the mountain bike community grow sometimes by taking something you bought, sharing it, and putting it out in space, and really helping these businesses along. And you know, I think they'll really appreciate it. You know, I wrote something out here, and I'm going to read it because you'll see me look down every now and then. There was a lot of information here. I did skip some of it, but you know, good lights are really important. These guys care about building good lights, right? So let's not let Outbound Lighting go the way of Jet. Don't buy the usual stuff. Don't buy, just because it says Night Rider on it, you think, well, they must be a reputable company that's been around. I'm not saying they're a bad company, but all they do is keep getting brighter and not really evolving and becoming a better light. And we're not seeing, like, I go out and I see all these different light manufacturers' lights, and they're just not amazing. There's only a few brands that are really pushing, and these guys are definitely one of them. So, you know, let's buy stuff from people who make lights for us. You know, let's really go for that, okay? All right. I gotta tell you, this video was fun. These are really cool products. You know, the lighting is, I love the technology of stuff. I work in tech as a career, and I love how all this stuff comes together and how much amazing new technology is growing in our space and helping us do more and have fun when we're out playing, and be able to up our safety game and up our fun factor all at the same time. Those two things are super awesome to go together, and we're seeing it in a lot of products. But you definitely, Outbound Lighting definitely took that to heart, and they really went for it in this product, right? And you know, let's help them grow. Let's be an amazing part of our community and just go after buying something. I mean, this thing is not heavy, it's nice and light, it's high quality, it's not a plastic part, right? It's got a beautiful reflector system built in, great lens coverings. I mean, just go after it and really go, you know, buy a light that when you know you bought something from somebody that you're helping them grow their business. I know I beat that a little bit here, but I just want to make sure that's out there. If you like this video, again, please like it. It'll help them, it'll help me. Please subscribe to my channel. This channel is a lot of fun for me. I really want to grow it. It's something that'll be a part of some other things I do. I actually recently started the Tahoe Donner Mountain Bike Club, so I'm going to be running that and getting that going, which should be a lot of fun. And just, you know, let's give back and let's help these businesses grow that are building products that make our lives a lot more fun. I hope everybody's having an awesome day. I am going to be doing a video on the Trail Evo light. I wanted to do that one separate. I only have the one right on it, and I wanted to really feel it out and see how it worked and my likes and dislikes before I gave you my initial review. So click the bell. That way, you know, you don't miss that video when it comes out, and I look forward to seeing everybody in the next video.